Welcome back, and I assume and I trust that you have completed the hands-on exercises of type conversion and casting and understood how the casting feature is implemented in Java and how it works. It's an important concept because as we go ahead with the programming, we should be aware of these things because this is developer's responsibility. Whenever we do a casting, we should be aware of what are the complications or what are the implications of casting. Okay, so now let us look at another important element in programming, which is arrays. And we'll discuss about what is an array, what are the single dimension and multi-dimensional arrays, and see how we can initialize and use arrays in a Java program. Okay, so let us explore arrays in this chapter and first understand what is an array. An array is nothing but a group of like-typed variables. For example, a group of numbers, which could be represented like an array of 4 numbers, okay, or an array of hobbies where each hobby is a string data type, for example. So which could be given a common name. So that's a basic concept where they all are of the same type. So that is what is an array, and they can have one or more dimension. You can have one dimensional array, two dimensional array, etc. And then a specific element of an array. For example, if you have an array of 4 numbers and you want to represent or you want to access data of the first element, for example, you have to use a zero-based index. So they are all accessed via a zero-based index. So let us look at how a one-dimensional array can be created in Java. So let us go here and creating a variable of the desired type. So here we see that I have a string array called directions. So you can specify the string array with the size. For example, here you see a string array directions is equal to new string of 4, which means it has 4 elements in the array. So there are 4 directions, the primary directions, and you are putting them in a string array. And this is not a zero-based index, it is a number. So keep that in mind. However, whenever you want to assign the values, so that is the next thing that we do. We can access them via the square bracket. Remember, we have the access option. So we basically can access this using this zero-based index. So directions of 0, directions of 1, directions of 2 and 3. So these are the 4 elements, and you can specify the content directly and assign this value. So this is one way we can basically go ahead and assign values, and similarly, you can also retrieve the value. So if you say system.out.println directions of 0, it basically accesses the data which is north, for example. So this is the way in which you can access the contents after initializing them. It is very important that we have to initialize the array, and that is what this particular thing is all about, what we are seeing in this example. It is also possible that we can assign and initialize in one go. So instead of saying new string of so and so, we could also give a string array directly put inside a braces, and you can basically give them in one go itself. That is also supported, which we'll see in the next multidimensional array example. So let's go and look at multidimensional array, where you have the implementation of an array of arrays, right? So if you want to represent something like row and column data, so it's like a 2-dimensional array. Similarly, if you have other additional dimensions, you can also have a 3-dimensional array or n-dimensional arrays depending on your requirement. Yes, it is very much possible. So you could see here in this example, we have an int array of array. So here it is basically a 2-dimensional integer array of arrays. Okay, so it is array of arrays and say matrix. And here what we have done in this example is that we have the declaration as well as the complete definition. Initialization is given here. So by this, Java understands that you have defined a 2 cross 2 array. So using this 2x2 array, I can basically also access the data. For example, I could use the same zero based index. So int 0 and 0, 0 comma 0 in basically identifies that I am going to the 0 row and 0 column, which is 1. Similarly, 1 comma 0 means it is going to the second row, and again 0 based index, keep that in mind, and then number 3. So it's pretty straightforward. What you would be seeing in the normal mathematics, the same concept we have here in the programming language as well. So next, we do get into some small hands-on and understanding how we can go ahead and look at creating an array in a Java program. So that is the next hands-on exercise. So please ensure you complete the next hands-on exercise as well.